Welcome everybody to another Heroes of the Storm game. Today we have actually something a little bit special, as you might already have realized when you saw this little fella enter the Nexus. We're currently looking at a game from the Korean server, and it's actually like featuring one of the MVP Black players. Saka is playing on the Falstead here for the blue team, and well, as you have probably already seen up at the top with the team constellation here, we're currently looking at it, at Leore currently as the only frontliner, well, together with Azul, I suppose. So we're going to have those two up at the front. We're on Garden of Terror for our HeroLeague game here, and we have Rega for the support. Saka, as already mentioned before, he's playing on the Falstead, and already a pretty sweet move here. Flying into the bush because he wants to get a couple of stacks for his Gathering Storm as his level 1 talent that he chose here. So he's currently trying to just get a bit of a head start. This is, as I already mentioned, a HeroLeague match that we have. Saka sent it over just a few days ago, and wanted to make sure that we are going to get a bit of a closer look at the Korean scene in this case. So I'm going to try in the future to get a few more Korean games for you. And once again, a shot here for the Gathering Storm stack. So we're going to keep a bit of a closer look on how exactly he's going to be able to get those arising in the future. At this point, he's already at 8 bonus damage early on in the game, of course. And with Gathering Storm, he's going to try and get just that wave clear in that he will need. The builds that we are seeing overall are pretty reminiscent on this level 1, what we are seeing also in the European scene, but there's definitely a couple of adjustments that we have to talk about. Keep in mind though, this is a HeroLeague game, of course on a pretty high level on the Korean server, but we're not looking at MVP Black as a whole, trying to just like get a certain strategy through here. At the top lane, we're currently seeing Saka going up against Sonya, and when with the adjustments, we have Backlash on Zul as the level 1 talent, whereas in the European scene, Shade is the more dominant talent. Not necessarily a talent that you will see in every single hero game in Korea here, but in this particular instance, Zul decided that he just wants to go for a bit more damage against the front line. When we're looking at Li Ming, it's the Ether Walk that we have on the level 1 talent, and besides that, Leoric with the reanimation, we're seeing the Colossal Totem taken for Rega, and we have the Gathering Storm. The red team, on the other hand, they have a bit of a different setup here. They're running it also with 2 frontliners, Sonya and Murid, and a pretty beefy frontline to be exact, and a double support. So going for this Uther and Tacita style that we see a lot in the European scene. A Kalthus in the backline is going to try and dish out the damage for the red team. And we are already in the first phase of the game where we have those seeds on the map, but a kill attempt here against Zul, who immediately also goes for the backlash, but he won't escape here. Kill number 1 in the game in favor of the red team. Job well done. They also get the seeds down here. At the same time, we're still seeing Saka on his Smurf account up here at the top, trying to just make sure that he can push this lane in a little bit. Didn't really get the opportunity to get too many stacks yet. Only the small camps have been taken here. Everything else not really claimed. Sonya is starting to go deep on him though. Saka still has the damage output though that he needs to push Sonya back. As a level 4 talent, we have him here on the side with Flowrider. And Flowrider, of course, it's something that we've seen, especially in the North American scene, also quite a bit. Europe still likes to go for the power throw, and then later on also, of course, on level 7 for the boomerang. But every now and then in North America, you will see that adjustment, especially like Cloud9. They really like to play that on K1 Pro when he goes into the Flowrider and then later on the Airy Gust. Saga actually has to back off here, and the red team is starting to take over the seats, which is of course starting to become a little bit of a problem, especially since there's still a plant down here on the map, and both of the teams at this point still have the opportunity to maybe get a plant early on in the game. Sonya even deciding to go into the Shattered Ground after Warpaint, so she's already trying to get a bit more AoE damage in, which is definitely going to help to clear the small camps with the seeds. Usually you would still see the follow through here as the Talon on the other hand. And both of the teams now are trying to go immediately for the camp at the bottom. Li Ming with the dominance already claimed. We're having Death's Reach on Zul, and the bombs are spreading. Kalthus is doing his job. It's a really vital part of the composition that the red team is running here, since as the only range damage dealer that they have in their setup, ignoring Tacita here for a moment as a pseudo support, he really has the option to, or like he has the responsibility to really dish out the damage while not overextending so that he can't be taken out. Most of the damage on the team is going to come from him and also from Sonya. But well, the plant is still on the map. Zul, on the other hand, is currently split pushing the top lane, so the blue team has to be extremely careful here. Nice dodge by Saka on his Falstead against that spear that we saw from Sonya. Hart Johnson on his Leoric, he needs to also move away here. Interesting nickname, by the way, just saying. So already on the retreat, the blue team, they are only with 4 heroes here, but a few of the red team had to be back, and that all of a sudden opens up an opportunity to go for the seats after all. We're seeing Zul joining the fun as well with a Bone Prison against Mirrodin, who did not jump out, uses Invulnerable Flames to dodge it. There he goes, that's the first kill for the blue team, and they are getting 11-7 as their reward. Of course, again, the living bombs everywhere, and Zul is spreading them quite nicely, but Gelthas went deep for it, and he's now down as well. So with Sonya just barely escaping and getting away here, the red team still lost 2 of their heroes, and are starting to just look a little bit tricky here. We're having at the same time, as you can already tell though, the top lane pushing in against the forward, which already triggers one of the heroes moving over immediately and trying to make sure that he soaks the experience here. The red team is starting to be in a bit of a situation where they really need that experience on lane, since they already lost quite a bit. Zul at the top lane earlier collected a lot of EXP for the blue team. They have a pretty solid lead here with nearly a level. And they also have the first plant, which is now starting to make its way straight through the middle. By the way, Saka on his level 7 talent went straight into Boomerang. So it's once again that synergy that you get with the Gathering Storm and the Boomerang. On Gathering Storm, we have him by now with 60 stacks already. We're talking 5 minutes 30 in the game. And he's at 60 stacks at this point, trying of course to get a few more of those in, and Sonya is willing to just sit there and take the damage. For now, Li Ming in the back just poking, so is Saka. Both of the range damage dealers are doing a pretty decent job with a plant at the front, trying to take down the siege giants and of course disabling the structures. Leoric is starting to make his way over now too, but both of the teams are on level 7. And for the red team, that means that they get a pretty decent power spikes thanks to Tasta finally being able to get his Kala's Embrace in on his talents, so that he can just pre-shield his team. And that's something that he's going to do quite a bit. Follow through on level 7 on the other hand for Sonya, which means that she of course lets the ferocious healing go, and that also means she has a bit less self-sustain in this game, but with a double support behind her, she just opted for the extra damage in this setup. We're seeing at the same time now also the plan rotating straight to the top. Quick reminder also that this is not the this is actually like not the Chromie patch yet. This was played shortly before Chromie was out on the Korean server. The Koreans get of course the patch a bit later. It's the same in Europe usually. North America normally receives the patches or the new heroes a bit faster than all the other regions, and I think Korea is about the last region that is being hit by one of the patches. Level 10 has now been reached, and we are seeing Hard Johnson going hard at work here down to the bottom against one of those walls. We're having him, in this case, not with the March of the Black King, but he's trying to just like get a bit of a setup maybe even for Saka, who was successful in taking down Sonya at the top with Zul together. So we're seeing a tri-lane up at the top, but Saka of course going straight into the Mighty Gust, and that means if Leoric is getting the Entomb in, then they can just simply gust the rest of the team away, get an isolation kill, and that's what they're currently aiming for here. We also see the Poison Nova and the root again against Mirrodin. He needs to be a bit careful how he plays this. With the Dwarf Toss, he can always dodge those if he times them properly. And this is something that so far he hasn't really done. Saka with a nice positioning here is trying to get the kill against Mirrodin, but this time Dwarf Toss is still up and he's using it immediately to escape here. The next night is going to be announced pretty soon, but for now the red team is still struggling to get their heroic ability. They finally get it, and now maybe a chance to turn it around against the blue team up to the top here. Obviously Tassa now moving in as a quick Phoenix, trying to save that camp for now. Hard Johnson is on the spot though. Here comes Li Ming with a Disintegrate, and Saka also trying to poke again. He's pretty low though, but he wants to get the damage in against Uther. And Leoric about to fall. A great Entomb! Oh my god, the money Entomb! Look at that, boss! No damage follow-up on the other hand. And Leoric down means the camp ends up in the hands of the red team. A great steal on their part. They're trying to make it a kill too, but at this point they're all extremely low, especially Tassadar if we're looking here. But Jesus, that one Entomb over the wall was pretty fantastic. That was really played. Hard Johnson went really hard for this one. So now we have Mirrodin jumping away. We're also seeing the fight happening again with a Divine Shield on Sonya. Saka is poking from the distance. Mighty Gust into the corner. And he gets the damage in with the Boomerang now as well. So we've been talking a lot about the... Oh, nice dodge here. Khaldor's trying to come in and get a bit of damage in. But yeah, it doesn't work out for him. So on the Gathering Storm, we have 100 extra damage right now, 9 minutes into the game. Saka been pretty busy here. Of course, this helps a little bit to have the level 4 talent and therefore get a bit of a cooldown reduction here. We have Har Johnson again. This time Sake is there for the damage, and that is the end of Khaldor's. Well played. They are going deep, and Sake immediately in position where he can just capitalize on the isolation and gets the kill. Talking that, at the bot lane, once again, Muradin not using the Dwarf Toss, uses it a moment later to escape though. So in the end, without any consequence, we have level 13 now for the blue team at least, and that means again the Crabify. We already saw Death's Reach on level 4. Seems more and more like we're going to see a bit of focus on the Scythe here for Zul, and that is probably also going to end up with a Mortal Wound on level 20 then. But as the level 7 talent, we still see the lane sustain with Ratma's Blessing. That being said, we are also having now the Illusionist taken, we're seeing Calamity, so Liming is going for a teleport build, and Sake is still playing this pretty safe. Very solid game from him here so far already. I mean, if you look at the damage output, for example, we're seeing him at a solid 36,000. That is more damage than Liming was able to dish out, and also his siege damage is not too shabby in this case. At the same time, we have the mid lane now being pressured by one of the plans, and the red team is actually having finally a chance to not only get even in experience, but maybe take a few of these structures down. They were able to successfully deny a plan to the blue team, who are sitting at 97 seats at this point, but they still need to get a bit more of additional damage in. So up to the top, Sake, oh, Mighty Gusts, and flies away, goes for a quick bunny hop, needs to use the barrel, but that gank that we saw with Uther and Sonya here, that was not successful. So actually well played once again by the MVP Black player. Right now we are having level 13 talents for both of the teams, which means that also Shrink Ray is now being used by Uther. And we have the Fission Bomb. Khaldor is going to spread the love. Went into Felon Fusion, Mana Tap, and the Sunfire Enchantment on the first 4 talents. Together with the Phoenix, of course, as his level 10 ability. But now we are seeing everybody in the mid lane, with the exception of Sake, who had to go back to base. And at the bot lane, Zul plus Tassadar, who are still fighting over one of the forts of the red team. It's already out of ammunition. Sake is starting to fly straight into the middle of the map at this point. And is also, of course, attempting to get a bit more damage in. Bam, hitting Muradin hard here. And, of course, still getting additional stacks on his Gathering Storm. Pretty important here, and you can really tell that especially these early moves that he made really helped him to get those stacks together. I mean, we saw him with 2 pretty incredible Amarangus right at the start of the game, and then later on also a very nice Mighty Gust into a corner to save one of his teammates, and really capitalized with one of the hammers then as well to get the extra damage in from the slowed heroes. So once again, just a bit of poke happening, already revealed by Tassadar on the other hand, so both of the teams are still very, very eager to get a kill here. Mighty Gust really well used, just as Muradin was about to get his hit in. Very well played here. And the carry Pigeon is definitely carrying the blue team now. The Auric at the top lane is going for the extra XP. Oh, the kill against Falstad. Well done. The red team in this case victorious, and they start to go straight through the bot lane. Leoric, after deep pushing the top, is now starting to move down to the bottom. Rocking the Cloud9 mount, by the way. I mean, if you play on the Korean server, then you should at least support your own region a little bit and get that MVP mount. But nope, instead he's rocking the Cloud9 mount here. I'm not quite sure what Sake thinks about that, to be honest. I mean, like, this was maybe one of the moments where you enter a game in HeroLeague and you see the mount of Cloud9 instead of the Korean mount, and you're like, you gotta be kidding me, right? Now, I would be salty. I would just let that guy die. Next time when he really, like, needs you, when he needs that Mighty Gust, just, like, turn around and fly away. So, but well, on the other hand, he's called Hard Johnson. You don't want to mess with this guy. At the top lane, we're currently seeing Zul just getting the first few seats. And, well, that means, of course, plan, once again, for the blue team. In terms of experience, they are on 16 versus 15. But with Zul at the top, this is a 5 versus 4 situation for the blue team. And the red team is currently trying to capitalize on it, with Sonya going deep already. Khaldor, guess what? He has the bombs ready. And down goes Rhaegar. Sake just a second too late with that Mighty Gust to help his teammates out here. But now the red team can easily just go for the remaining seats. They will get a plant as well, and they are also closing on the level 16 that they just now reached. So definitely a bit of a problem that the blue team is split load. It helps them to get sometimes an experience lead and even a lead in seats, but at this point they also lost one of their heroes, and their death timers they are increasing. This is definitely becoming a bit of an issue because now there's another big plan coming in. Sake with a nice, did you see that? Very nice shot again, getting additional damage on his Gathering Storm, and then immediately barrel rolling over the wall, so playing it safe but still trying to get as many stacks as he possibly can so that the late game is going to be a bit easier for him and he has the damage output that they need. A double plant now for the red team, and this is really when you start to have to be very careful. After the Crepify, we saw now also the Flowing Wounds. We're seeing the Hunger of the Wolf with the extra damage, so a bit of percentage damage against especially, of course, Muradin. And Sake went into the Giant Killer on his false set as well to pressure the front line of the red team additionally. We're also seeing him now on 16 with the Airy Gust. And the Airy Gust together with the level 4 talent, that's of course really when you're trying to poke as much as you possibly can. You need to avoid damage for a long time, and that's currently what he's doing here as well. But at the same time now, just looking at the damage output a little bit. He's already at 52,000, still ahead of Li Ming, which is pretty fantastic for them. And we're also seeing him in the stacking process on 150 stacks already. Still trying to get the damage in here, one after another. We are seeing those hammerangs and boomerangs just going in. Nice isolation against Sonya. Well played by Leoric again. That's the kill that they've been waiting for. And they might be able to eliminate Muradin too. He's getting healed by Uther and jumps away once more. The plant moves in. Muradin is still alive and gets away here. Really well done. On the other hand, down here we have Tassadar trying to move into Uther on the run. Muradin rushing away, and they survive. Great play by the red team here. Really well done. But they are still a level behind. Keep in mind though that they have that second plant that I was mentioning a bit earlier. So with that they are now able to just push a bit harder. We have 6 kills against 4. Overall actually like a pretty even game here, if you ignore the structural advantage of the blue team for a moment, because they already took down 2 of the forts and they haven't really lost anything yet. The only thing that was taken out were a couple of towers, but all the forts are still available to them. Now we are seeing again a bit of pressure play here in the middle. Now, of course, with all those... Oh, Sake eating the damage here on the Living Bomb. Muradin is already posturing around, but at the bot lane, one of the camps had to be depushed. And that's what Tassadar is currently attempting to do. He's taking over here, making sure that these bad boys don't go through the walls straight away. He leaves the rest of the team pretty much alone with the planet in the mid lane on the other hand. They need to be careful with this one. But already Leoric quite low and has to well up, since he took a lot of damage from Kalthas in particular. And Kalthas is, of course, going to become a huge bad boy now in this game. Especially after level 20, we can expect him to go for the Master of Flames here. And for now, there's the Mighty Gust. Sake trying to isolate him, doesn't get that kill though. He instead gets stunned and is immediately being attacked. Can move away though, still with a nice poke attempt here on his part. We're seeing Hart Johnson up at the front with his Leoric, trying to just like peel for the rest of his team. Li Ming with a poke damage the entire time as well, and Zul waiting for a chance to use his Bone Prison again. Muradin finally jumping it, but timing it very badly. Not able to dodge the Bone Prison. He jumped a bit too early, and now the Divine Shield has to be used to keep him alive. Leoric with a great move. The Entomb was fantastic. He knew that Dwarf Toss wasn't cooldown, so he simply used it and forced out the Divine Shield cooldown. Really well done here on this part. Great, of course, for them when it comes to the cooldown timers here. 70 seconds still on the Divine Shield cooldown, and only 30 on the side of Leoric. Here comes the attack, and Sake with the finishing blow against Muradin. Well done. Really well done. And they go through the mid lane now. The plant is still up at the top. Try to rotate a bit. And guess what? We have seeds already back on the map when the plant is still in play. Sake already with so much damage on his Gathering Storm. He's currently at 186. And he gets to simply blast away these small seed stacks and get those quite easily for his team. They also have the level 20 now. And it comes as no surprise that Mortal Wound has been taken here. The Epic Mount. We see the Spectral Leech, Storm Shield, and the Temporal Flux on the side of Li Ming. And at the same time now, of course, with Sun King's Fury after Fission Bomb, it is time for the boys in red to try and claim their level 20. But we have a plan growing for the red team, and this is going to start to become a little bit dicey. Level 20 plus plant and late game. That's really when you need to be very careful that you're not falling victim to your opponent. The one thing that the red team was thinking about doing is just simply move in and maybe like claim one of the plans. Their problem is they don't want to fight without the level 20 talent. So they retreat for now. When it comes to damage, by the way, we have Saka already at 77,000 hero damage on his fall stat. He takes the top damage in the entire game, even more than Li Ming or Kalthas, whereas we are seeing him still with 100,000 siege damage, which isn't too shabby. The only hero that is actually better when it comes to siege is Zul, and that shouldn't really surprise anybody here. I mean, the Necromancer might be an old geezer, but he knows how to burst down a wave. So, level 20, not ready yet for the red team, but they are working at it. But it's already ping, ping, ping spam on the map because the blue team wants to get their first keep. It's the bot lane, on the other hand, that they're focusing on for now. Lanes are being deep pushed by the red team in the meantime. They're attempting to get the experience to hit their Storm talents, but they now need to move back immediately up at the top. Saka, by the way, now on 186 still, was mostly going for siege damage in the meantime, and is now going to try and poke a little bit to get even more damage on his hammering. And that is going to become a huge problem for the red team, because that poke is starting to really hurt. The boomerang damage on the side of Saka is great, and also with the giant killer he was able to dish out a lot of damage. He's really pushing Sonya back, forcing her to well up here. And we are seeing the rest of the team just pressuring in as well, trying to go for the keep here. Phoenix already used to try and zone them out, but the blue team doesn't care at all about it. There comes the Ancestral, but we are having still the keep under pressure, and it will fall. It's definitely going to fall. The keep is down 20, not available yet for the red team. They are struggling to reach it, so they might be able to chase them back. Art Johnson once again within 2. Mighty Gust been used as well, but the Divine Shield saves Kalthas. Well done here with that combo. Bombs everywhere though, but still no level 20 talent. They just don't spread as Kalthas would want them to. Finally they have their 20s, and that's of course when we are seeing immediately the Master Flames coming in. The Twilight Archon on Tassadar, who decided to not go into the Force Wall, as you've already seen earlier of course. Sonya here already down, and this is starting to become a disaster. Muradin with Avatar and also his stone form, but look at Uther. He is down. Uther dead. Redemption might save him here, but still the damage output just not enough. So the blue team playing a very solid game here, especially Saka on his false stat having of course a huge impact. And this just shows how much you can really carry with a false stat. It's not only the damage output that he has, but at the same time it's those Mighty Gusts that always put his team into really good position. You can also have a bit of a look at the experience soak, by the way, here. Zul on 20,000. I mean, he's the guy who usually tried to go to the off lane and soak a little bit. But Saka is still at 14,000 himself. We're currently having Leoric, on the other hand, being attacked here. And Tart Johnson, yeah, he's getting away. You don't take him down that easily. Up to the top lane, Saka is waiting for a wave. He's basically just saying, like, I want to burst something down, and he's going to get that wish granted. Bam! Boomerang, of course, doing work here, and by now we see him also, when it comes to hero damage, at 103,000 damage. He's not joking around, especially with the siege damage here as well. 140,000 for him. Second plant is now moving in. Saka is still with the damage, but he can, of course, fly in. He has the epic mount, and he intends to make full use of it. I can tell you that much. 9 kills against 4 by now, level 22 versus level 20. The red team now with Kalthas in particular trying to maybe start a bit of a comeback, and he has 81,000 damage. So the only hero that has more damage output than Kalthas is Falstad right now. Once again, Muradin has to jump out here. We're seeing the plant getting really low already. Kalthas has a huge problem really getting close enough to get those living bombs in play, since he's always being attacked by Li Ming and others. But here we go, setting the first one in position. But Leoric moving away, not spreading anything here. Here comes Falstad and the kill attempt, but not successful. Kalthas is able to move away, but a nice entomb once again. They're trying to go for it. Muradin again, Bone Prison. He really needs to learn that timing. Sonya is down, and there's the kill against also Uther now, which allows them to go straight for another keep. Saka trying to jump in to maybe get a Mighty Gust off, but he didn't get the angle, so therefore he didn't even try. They're trying to go for core here, but we still have 3 heroes alive for the red team, and they're trying to force them back. Finally, Muradin. Took him 22 minutes to learn the timing of the jump so that he can dodge the Bone Prison, but he finally managed. For now, we're also seeing everyone else. Oh my god, Muradin. Muradin is down, and this, ladies and gentlemen, might be the end of it. Already the approach to take down Kalthas. Saka with a play at the end of the game here, isolating him to take him down. He's at 120,000 euro damage, 170,000 siege, and we are seeing him in stacks on 240 extra stacks on his hammering. GG, well played. And the blue team is victorious on Garden of Terror here on the Korean server.